Would you vote for a politician if he said he could save the taxpayers $40 billion annually? Would you vote for this politician if he could prove that the proposed policy would not only directly save this amount of money, but would also have an economic impact on the positive side of another $15 billion? I know that if a politician said these things to me and he could do these things, that I would vote for him. Anything that could save the American taxpayer over $50 billion annually would be a fantastic policy. If the same politician could detail this plan and show everybody with statistics and factual evidence using testimony from individuals, from doctors to experts in the field, if they could show us all of these things, no matter what the policy is, do you think it would be worth it? I do. Today, America spends $175 billion annually on the welfare program. Now, this is not Medicaid, it's not Medicare, it's not Social Security, SSI, anything like that. This is strictly assistance for the SNAP program or food stamps, as well as the monetary benefits that the state and the federal government give out annually. One of the main arguments today is that we need to drug test individuals who receive benefits. I agree with this. If a politician proposed this plan and had a way of making it a functional idea that we could make into policy and put into place, I would certainly vote for that politician. Those who receive government assistance are not lazy people. They're not people who wish to live off the system and not pay taxes. Many of them are people who just need a handout to get by, just to give them a lift up so they can get back on their feet again. Most people on the system don't want to be on the system. They want to be able to work. They're embarrassed to be on the system. So drug testing them is not the end of the world. Over 90% of the people on welfare would be able to pass a drug test. Only 10%, or actually less than 10%, would probably test positive. According to brain statistics, about 9.4% of individuals who live in the United States have a habitual drug problem. There are many different types of drugs that this includes, but according to this statistic, 9.2% habitually use marijuana, as well as 18.9 million use marijuana, 6.9 use psychedelic drugs, but the overall estimated number is 9.2%. According to brain statistics as well, the number of individuals on welfare is over an estimated 65 million people. Out of those 65 million people, it would be estimated that a little over 5 million of those would be habitual drug users. Now, according to thinkprogress.com, they believe that only 0.02% of people who have been drug tested in current state policies are the result of the current policies, and basically states and the federal government would be wasting money by putting these policies in place. Now, if 0.2% were all that actually used drugs that receive government assistance, then I would have to imagine that the statistics of 9.4% are incorrect. In our society, we tend to lift people up, give them a hand. We do what we need to do to help our fellow man. But at some point, we have to step back and we have to decide if we want to continue to help people and enable them in their drug addiction. Now, I'm not saying that everybody, once again, is on welfare or on assistance, uses drugs, or simply does it because they don't want to pay into the system. If we took out the 9.2%, or what I've estimated is roughly around 8% of the current population that is actually on welfare, it would save $175 billion. My apologies, it would actually save a little over $50 billion. You could take that $50 billion and invest it into educational programs or workplace programs to improve skills of workers. By allowing individuals to stay on the system that continue to use drugs, we're enabling them. We are not giving them the ability to work. As a child growing up, my parents were habitual drug users. They never had a job more than 2 years my entire life growing up. Once my brother and sister and I were out of the house, they had no problem keeping a job. Up until my father passed away, he had a job for over 20 years. But as a child, due to being a habitual drug user, he maintained just staying at home and smoking dope all day. Once my brother and sister and I moved out, they never had a problem. They couldn't get assistance anymore. There were no longer children in the home. The government would not allow physically abled working people to get assistance if they had no need for assistance. So once they were required to work, they had to work. There was no problem with it. They continued to work. Now, my idea is that this policy would encourage people to get out and work. If they get out and work and they, have to pass a drug test in order to do so, then they would likely end up stop using the drugs so they could survive. Now, I wouldn't advocate for hurting children or families, but helping those who need assistance is the goal. When you give people government assistance, you take away resources and spread them over a wide variety of people. So if you eliminate the 5.5 million people who would likely show a positive drug test, then there would be more resources to spread around and increase the effectiveness and the efficiency of our tax dollars. I know that I would vote for a politician that would propose such a bill, and I think that as Americans we should all decide to vote for something like this. Thank you.